Hey, it's Mazzy, and cheers to you. Coleman Burke and I would frequently like to have this just one gin martini, usually a sapphire, later in life, Hendrix. But dry gin, either a twist or a olive, usually an olive in the beginning. But those who've been watching my channel, you've probably been bombarded with the Coleman Collection. My late friend, Coleman Burke, who died about 2 months ago now, a little over 2 months ago. I acquired his record collection. Coffee Dave and I purchased it from his sister to help out, and she, to understanding it, she knows that we were going to probably sell some of it but keep a lot of it. And I realized I've kept almost 500 records so far for myself out of the 5,000 records. And Coleman and I met in 1973, and I remember I actually do remember he came into the record store I worked at on Gaye Boulevard in San Francisco, and we started chatting, and I don't know how the connection was made. It was first about the Jefferson Airplane. Maybe we were playing the record, I don't know. We talked about the Jefferson Airplane, we talked about the Kinks, and he talked about his love for soul music, R&B, soul. He knew so much about it. He was buying a lot of 45s as a kid, and then subsequently a lot of records. And in 1978, he started a band called Pride and Joy, named after a Marvin Gaye song. And they were, for over 4 decades, they were a huge Northern California band that would play corporate events and weddings and bar mitzvahs and everything. And, just up until the whole lockdowns and COVID, they would be extremely popular. And he led the band, he managed the band, he booked the band, he was a guitar player. They had these 4 great soul singers, 2 men, 2 women, and they were incredible. And he had quite the collection, and I realized this is the time, even though I have a good amount of soul records, but a lot of mine are greatest hits, and I realized I pull these records for my collection, and I'm just going to go through some of them fairly fast. Just the covers. I'm not going to dig deep because I really don't know the deep cuts on these. Now, the thing about soul music, when I worked in record stores, it was always interesting because soul records seem to have a shelf life, a shorter shelf life than, quote, what we now call classic rock records. Be some big hit, it would sell for 3, 6, 9 months depending, and then the album would die. The songs would be, later on comps, but it seems like rock and roll records had legs. Aside from artists like Marvin Gaye, the 70s, of course, social commentary, Marvin Gaye records, Stevie Wonder records, some Aretha, there were definitely exceptions. But I'm going to go through, they're not in any particular order, except I grouped the artists together. And I'll just go really fast to see what I've acquired. Solid Smoke Records actually was some friends of ours who had a used record shop in San Francisco, and they did reissues. And this is a comp. They also did a version of the Great Live at the Apollo. So this is on Solid Smoke Records, James Brown. Can Your Heart Stand It? And this is a later King edition. This is probably a later reissue, obviously. King Records, The Dynamic Singing of James Brown. Ray Charles Volume 2 sings country and western. I have Volume 1, and I've never had Volume 2. I do have it on CD. The Gospel Soul of Sam Cooke and the Soul Stirrers. This is when he was doing more gospel music before secular records. Early recordings, probably reissued after the fact. The great live Sam Cooke at the Copa. Live at the Harlem Square Club. Seesaw, kind of a funny record. One hit, I knew the song. I haven't listened to this yet. I knew that one single. But look at that bizarre cover. Pretty bizarre. But this was on, this is Stax. But actually, this is Atlantic Records, mono copies. Now, I'm finding in Coleman's collection, sometimes he would have stereo and mono and various pressings. Sometimes he'd only have one. This is a white label promo copy of Earth, Wind, and Fire's album with Serpentine Fire. That stuff was really big when we were working in record stores, Coleman and I together. Four Tops, Reach Out, both mono and stereo, originals, OG, Motown records. Four Tops stereo. Four Tops, love that cover. Isn't that a great cover? Great cover. Again, I don't know all the songs. I know the hits. I have all these hit albums, but he really kind of dug deep with these. Keeper of the Castle, this is more of the later ones I remember in the 70s. Four Tops. Eddie Floyd, Knock on Wood. This is on Stax record, of course, that great hysterical cover. Chopping Down the Wood, Chopping the Wood. Pretty hysterical. And okay, this is a huge lift here, but some incredible records. Now I have some reissued of these. I didn't have a lot. Again, they're not in any order. We got Aretha Franklin, Hey Now, Hey. I think this is a terrible cover. I never liked this cover when it came out. I remember this cover. I don't like this illustration. It's kind of like, what drugs were you on when you were illustrating that cover? But of course, the great young, gifted, and black with, oh my God! I mean, what a great record this is. And this was, she was getting in her social commentary period, a la Nina Simone. And this has Young, Gifted, and Black, that great Nina Simone song. It has Oh Me, Oh My, All the King's Horses. Has one Beatles song, Long and Winding Road. And a really great rendition of Border Song. One of the great kind of soulful songs by Elton John and Bernie Taupin. I just love that record. Aretha in Paris. Aretha Arrives, both mono and stereo, so I'm keeping one of each. I do have a reissue of this, but with hype sticker. Kind of love these, right? And a lot of these records are in such pristine shape. So what I'm going to do, this wall I'm looking at, which I have books on now, I'm going to take these off and I'm going to have the Coleman collection, the Coleman Soul collection, actually. Respect, I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, Aretha Franklin. This is in a mono. We got Aretha Lady Soul, both stereo and mono with hype sticker. Stereo Aretha Now, a stereo Aretha Soul 1969. Look at that green, isn't that beautiful? God, I'm just, I've said before in some of these videos, bittersweet owning these records. I haven't had a copy of this in a long time. I have the CD, but what an amazing album. Recorded in church in LA, Amazing Grace, Southern California Community Choir. An amazing record by Aretha Franklin. And this is an interesting one with the Eurythmics co-produced with, it's Narada Michael Walden, and it's got duets with the Eurythmics with Annie Lennox. Sisters are doing it for themselves. That was kind of an MTV hit. It's kind of a cool record, but it's that later thing, not something in the same sort of 70s soul thing. It's kind of a bit of a comeback, but love that stuff. The hits keep coming. We got Sparkle. Now, this is not one of my favorites, but there's some good stuff on it. This is Curtis Mayfield produced. And it was on Curtis Mayfield's a production thing he did for Atlantic Records. So this was a soundtrack, I believe, right? Yeah, the Warner Brothers Motion Picture. I never saw Sparkle, so tell me about it. John in UK, tell me about it. Now we got the next little selection here of artists, and this is kind of where it began with Coleman. I never had a Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell album, aside from some of their duets on comps, on Motown comps, obviously. Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing. What a great song. I just listened to this tonight, and this is a stereo copy, Tamla Motown. Pristine copy, little surface noise. These always had kind of they weren't the greatest, quietest pressings, these Motown pressings in the 70s. This is probably a 70s pressing. This record's from 1968. And I was reading up because I just all of a sudden thought, I don't know if I know whatever happened to Tammy Terrell. And then I read that at 25 she had a brain tumor, brain cancer, and passed away. And it really it really shook me up while I was listening to that, because obviously he wasn't as young, but that's what Coleman succumbed to. And knowing how he loved this music just kind of gave me a little jolt. And this was the first record of this entire collection in the soul section of records that I've gotten from Coleman that I put on. So that was a little interesting. Here's another one, Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, United. Ain't No Mountain High Enough. What a great song. I mean, I know all the hits, but the thing about, again, these soul records had the hits and these other songs that you had to dig deep into, and that's something I plan on doing over the next forever, right? Because I don't know a lot of the album cuts, about the deep cuts on these records. Marvin Gaye, How Sweet It Is to Be Loved With You, Loved By You, excuse me. Marvin Gaye, That's the Way Love Is. Again, Tamla Motown, very, very clean copies. Marvin Gaye and Kim Weston. Volume 2 of Marvin Gaye's Greatest Hits. I have other Marvin Gaye comps, but of course this is what a great collection this is, And just, I love that cover. It's so graphic and just so of its time. 1967, this one came out. And of course, Marvin Gaye, In the Groove, another great cover. Right. I think this is 1969 or 70, 1969. What a great portrait, too. Love that. What a beautiful man. I haven't had a good copy of this in years, and there's not a good copy around. All the reissues are shite, and hopefully they'll put out one. But this is a beautiful, it's a UK Motown pressing of arguably one of the greatest albums ever made. We don't have to argue about it. It's such a great album. What's Going On, Marvin Gaye. This and Let's Get It On. Now, obviously that's on the more sexual side and romantic side, but it's still great. There's so much more here. Al Green, there's a whole bunch of Al Green records he left. I have most of them. This is the only one I didn't have, so I'm not showing the other ones because I think those are spoken for. We got Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Now we're getting into more, this is Philly International, I believe. Yeah, Philly International. And this is actually a stamped promo copy, not for sale. Now, how cool is this cover? This is a budget Starline UK copy, EMI budget. But look at that cover of the Isley Brothers. I just love that. I have to have these in my collection. I don't longer have Michael Jackson records, but I figure I have to have Thriller, and I have to have Off the Wall. Of course, it's got the McCartney pen song on here. The Doggone Girlfriend. Or Girlfriend. Is it Girlfriend? Girlfriend, I'm gonna take your boyfriend. Yeah. Beatle Connection. There we go. Of course, he bought the Beatle catalog from McCartney. Okay, and then we got the great Shotgun, Junior Walker and the All-Stars. Road Runner, Junior Walker. And a Gas, Junior Walker. Incredible stuff. We got 3 records here by Gladys Knight and the Pips. We got Imagination, Everybody Needs Love, Take Me in Your Arms and Love Me, The End of Our Road, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Feeling Bluesy. We got 2 records here by the Marvelettes. This was a comp. I actually have another, the 3 record greatest hits, those series that came out in the mid to late 70s. And of course the Marvelettes here. Great covers. The Sound of Young America. That's the tagline for Motown Records. And again, it's so great to have these. Some are OG pressings, original pressings, and some are later 70s issues. You got Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, also Philly International. we got The Great Dance Party by Martha and the Vandellas. Of course, you got Dancing in the Street. I mean, who could forget David Bowie and Mick Jagger dancing in the street? Doesn't touch this original version. Like, look at that. Almost like, if you look, it looks like a Jackson Pollock painting from here until you get the illustration and see these little fellows and people having a party dancing. Pretty funny, pretty silly cover. Curtis Mayfield, one of his great records, Roots. I have a reissue of that, but I don't have an original. We got two OJ's records. We got Backstabbers all over the airways. Again, this is Philly International Records. And we got a white label promo copy of the OJ's Survival. Again, pristine copies, wonderful sounding records. I've played these. I haven't heard these in so long. I just love that stuff. Of course, Wilson Pickett. Wilson Pickett was probably the first soul artist that my band in junior high school covered. I think we did Knock on Wood and we did Funky Broadway. Wilson Pickett. Now the great Otis Redding. Okay. Now we got some Otis Redding. The great Otis Redding sings ballads. We got Otis Redding live in Europe. I have a reissue of this. And Otis Redding and Carla Thomas, with Tramp, hype sticker on Tramp. That's on Stax. So these great records on Volt, Stax Volt. Incredible stuff. We got Ann Peebles. I've been in this real Ann Peebles mode. Of course, the one song that everyone, if you don't know Ann Peebles, is I Can't Stand the Rain on My Window. What a great, great song. And I found about 4 or 5 records, maybe 4 records by Ann Peebles on here, and they're on the High record label, which was the label that I knew mostly because of Al Green. And it sounds like it's the same musicians, the same kind of funky sound. Produced by Willie Mitchell, and it's just incredible stuff. I have this like crushy on anything Ann Peebles at the moment. It's a phase, I get it. I haven't heard this one yet, but I've heard the other 3 or 4 I have, and I'm looking forward to this. This is a promo copy, not for sale, so that's kind of cool as well. And we continue on here with Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, 1 Dozen Roses. And Time Out for Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. This must be, I think this one's 1969. But again, I was buying rock and roll stuff. I buy like some soul singles around this time. You know, the great thing about American rock and roll and top 40 radio was you would mix soul and country. I mean, and even, you know, weird kind of kitschy stuff with rock and roll and pop music on the top 30, top 40 charts. So I heard a lot of these songs, but not the deep cuts. We got Chaka Khan and Rufus. I love this stuff. Now, ABC Records, I worked for ABC, so I used to have promos of all these records, which I purged in the 90s. So it's great to have these back in the collection again. I used to know these by heart because I had to promote them. We got Hold On, I'm Coming, great song by Sam and Dave. And Thank You. I Thank You from Sam and Dave. Joe Simon, Drown in the Sea of Love. What an expansive set here. Of course, I mean, I actually have a different version, a reissue of this, but I don't have an original, or this is a 70s version of Nina Simone, one of my all-time favorites, kind of soulful, jazzy piano player, vocalist, singing the blues. And then Valerie Simpson, Exposed. Pair of Sly Stone. I already have this. I didn't have a copy of this recently. I have a CD of it, but I don't have it on vinyl. Of course, Stan, one of the great albums of the set. Just a great funky album. Is this 69? I'm thinking 68, 69-ish. Someone will correct me because I don't always know. And then There's so many records here. We got the Spinners. This is a friggin' great record. I found a Mo-Fi version of this too, which I'm keeping, at least for now. I want to listen to this. It's a cut copy of it. This is an incredible record. Just a great record of its time. And Mighty Love, I remember playing in the store, but I don't know it as well. But I know some of the songs on it. And these are fun. I'm a huge fan of the Staple Singers. And these are their gospel. I mean, they did kind of cross over into the R&B, into the secular charts. But Amen, Staple Singers, and this is on Columbia Epic. From a church. This is from the St. Sanderson's Religious Enterprises, distributor on that. Hammer and Nails, Gospel by the Staple Singers. And Tell It Like It Is, Gospel from the Staple Singers. Great records. Of course, Edwin Starr, and the song that everybody knows is War, What Is It Good For? Absolutely nothing. So I'm interested to dive into this. I'm sure there are songs I know, but this will be a fun one as well. The best of the stylistics. I mean, come on. This stuff is just so 70s and so sexy, funny pop, fun pop stuff. We got here some great album cover, Love Child. Diana Ross and the Supremes. Diana Ross and the Supremes, Reflections. This is when they get a little psychedelic. This is 1966, so right out of the Revolver School of Soul Records. Meet the Supremes. And then we got Diana Ross's Greatest Hits, the later stuff. I'm not a huge fan. You know, Touch Me in the Morning, maybe I'll like it now, but I remember, Love Theme from Mahogany, Touch Me in the Morning. I know all these songs. Ain't No Mountain High Enough, she does that song again. So I'm not quite sure my take on this one for my collection. And then, of course, we got, this is a friggin' great series of records, The Temptations. Look at that. Clean copy. Temptations, clean copy. Temptations sings Smokey Robinson, one of the great songwriters at Motown. Temptations, up. Another one. Okay, we got a stereo. And we got a mono. Coleman was really into collecting both stereo and mono, especially these records, these soul records. Oh, God, love this. Temptations, a lot of soul. How psychedelic is that? This is more, this is a promo copy. I remember this selling this in the record store, 70s. And then there's With a Lot of Soul. Did I already show that? See, there's so many records, multiple copies. Maybe I didn't, but look at that cover. So great. We're down to the wire here with the last batch. We got on Atlantic Records, Joe Tex. This is my favorite cover of all these. This is Carla Thomas. This is Stax, number 709. What a great cover that is. Going into a whole new, different generation at the time. One totally sealed here. Obviously, a protege of Prince, but I haven't ever had these records. On Brunswick, a beautiful pressing, beautiful copy of My Golden Favorites by Jackie Wilson, one of the great soul pop singers. Bobby Womack. And ending with almost some Stevie Wonder. Now, he had all the Stevie Wonder records. I had most of them. I swapped one out. But he had every single Stevie Wonder record. But a couple of my friends picked those up from the collection because they're just great records. And this one with, was it Master Blaster Jammin'? I don't have this album anymore. I used to have it, and I think I traded it in the mid-70s. And then Down to Earth, early Stevie Wonder, little Stevie Wonder. So that's it, ending up with Soul Christmas, the Motown Christmas. This is actually a reissue of it he had in his collection. So Coleman Records, Soul. These are the soul records of Coleman Burke that I'm keeping in my collection. So thanks for spending the time with me and looking over these great soul records. Just incredible stuff. Mazzy loves you, and thank you, everybody. Thanks. I really appreciate it. You're watching.